Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. And today we're going to go into the book of Luke, the 24th chapter. Now upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came onto the sepulchre, bringing the spices which they had prepared, and certain others with them. And they found the stone rolled away from the sepulchre. And they entered in, and found not the body of the Lord Yahushai. Because a sepulchre, let me see if I can pull an image here. Sepulchre, Bible Times. And it's usually like a cave, right? And then you would roll a burial place. You would roll a stone to cover the mouth. Yeah, see something like this to cover the mouth of it. So when they came, they saw the stone was rolled, so it was open. And when they went in there, they found not the body. Because remember, they saw how it was laid in the sepulchre. But when they came in there, the body wasn't there. And it came to pass, as they were much perplexed thereabout, they were like, their minds were like, whoa, wait, how, what's going on? What happened to the body? Behold, two men stood by them in shining garments. These were angels. And as they were afraid and bowed down their faces to the earth, they said unto them, Why seek ye the living among the dead? He is not here, but is risen. but is risen. Remember how he spake unto you when he was yet in Galilee, saying, The Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of sinful men, and be crucified, and the third day rise again. See, now it's starting to make sense. Now the gears are starting to turn. And they remembered his words, and returned from the sepulchre, and told all these things unto the 11, and to all the rest. 11, because Judas Iscariot wasn't among them anymore. It was Mary Magdalene and Joanna and Mary, the mother of James, which I believe this would be the mother of Yahushai as well. All right, James being the brother of Yahushai. And other women that were with them, which told these things unto the apostles. And their words seemed to them as idle tales, and they believed them not. So the majority of the apostles were like, bruh, like, what are you saying right now? Like, the stone was rolled away and the body is just not there. And then you saw angels that told you this? What? Like, what? But Peter believed. So then arose Peter and ran onto the sepulchre. And stooping down, he beheld the linen clothes laid by themselves, and departed, wondering in himself at that which was come to pass. So he's like, but this is what he was wrapped in. And then he's thinking in his mind, he's like, damn, so he really rose? Like, I mean, he did say he would rise, but man, this is really crazy. And behold, two of them went that same day to a village called Emmaus, which was from Jerusalem about 60 furlongs. And they talked together of these things which had happened. And it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Yahushai drew near. Yahushai himself drew near and went with them. So they're walking, he meets them, and he's going along with them in that same direction. But their eyes were holden that they should not know him. So they couldn't recognize that it was Yahushai. And he said unto them, now, whether he, took on a different appearance, or he just did something to their mind to where they just couldn't recognize it to be him. It doesn't specify the details, but they just didn't recognize it was him. And he said unto them, What manner of communications are these that ye have one to another as ye walk and are sad? So what are you guys talking about? What's got you so messed up in the head that you look so sad and as you're walking here? And the one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answering, said unto him, Art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem, and has not known the things which are come to pass there in these days? So they're like, where have you been? Right, in the NLT, then one of them, Cleopas, replied, "You must be the only person in Jerusalem who hasn't heard about all these things that have happened there the last few days." And he said unto them, "What things?" And they said unto him, "Concerning Yahushua of Nazareth, which was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death and have crucified him. But we trusted that it had been he which should have redeemed Israel. And beside all this, today is the third day since these things were done." So they're saying that, right? Because they're like, we believed that he was the one who would redeem us, he would bring the kingdom back and all of that. But this is the third day since he was crucified, and there's that, right? "Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre." So they surprised us when and when they found not his body, they came, saying that they had also seen a vision of angels, which said that he was alive. And certain of them which were with us went to the sepulchre, and found it even so as the women had said, but him they saw not. And that would be Peter, I believe, and John. I think in the book of John it mentions that account. So I think John ends up outrunning Peter, but he waits, and then Peter goes in first. But here it just mentions Peter. And when he said unto them, then he said unto them, "O fools, and slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not the anointed to have suffered these things, and to enter into his glory?" So you saying all this, what's written in the book? Is it not written that he had to go through these things to enter into that glory? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself. But once again, they didn't realize that yet. So he broke it down. He would go into the law. You see right here where it says, his garment was parted, of his bones none were broken. They that ate of his bread have lifted up the heel against him. All these things. That's why he was crucified. That's why he was betrayed. That's why this had to happen. That's why that had to happen. And they drew nigh unto the village whither they went, and he made as though he would have gone further. So as they were, as they were making their stop, he was like, basically on some all right, cool. Well, you take care. So he acted like he was going to carry on further, but they constrained him, saying, "Abide with us, for it is toward evening, and the day is far spent." And he went in to tarry with them. So they said, no, just stay with us. It's already late. Just why don't you stay here with us? And it came to pass, as he sat at meat with them, he took bread and blessed it and brake and gave to them. And their eyes were opened, and they knew him, and he vanished out of their sight. So for those that, don't think spiritual power is real, there you go. That's teleportation right there, because he's going to reappear somewhere else. But basically, when he break the bread, then that hold that was put on them, it was taken off, and they recognized, oh, that's him. That's Yahushua. What? How didn't we recognize him this whole time? And immediately when their eyes popped wide open and they recognized it was him, poof, he disappeared. And they said one to another, "Did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us by the way, and while he opened to us the scriptures?" So meaning in their mind, right? While he was breaking this down, it's like we feel like this is familiar, right? But their eyes were telling them otherwise. In NLT says they said to each other, "Didn't our hearts burn within us?" Meaning their minds, as he talked with us on the road and explained the scriptures to us, because this wouldn't be the first time he had done it. But they're in their minds, they're just like, yo, it's just like, that's like Yahushua. That's how he breaks things down. That's how he does it. But anyway, So he's disappeared now. They're like, oh shoot, it's him. A lot is going on through their minds. And they rose up the same hour. So they still forget tarrying over here. They're going right back to Jerusalem. And returned to Jerusalem and found the 11 gathered together, and them that were with them, saying, the Lord is risen indeed, and hath appeared to Simon. That's what the 11 said to these men. So before they even told their side, they said, look, the Lord has risen. The women were not lying. He showed himself to Peter. And then these two, which were joined in there, came and told their side. And they told what things were done in the way, and how he was known of them in breaking of bread. And as they thus spake, Yahushua himself stood in the midst of them, and saith unto them, peace be unto you. So he teleported over there. So they're talking, and then boom. He just pulls up. Shalom. But they were terrified and affrighted, and supposed they had seen a spirit. You know, he probably turned, whoever, maybe he probably popped up right behind somebody, and the rest of them see him, and they all spooked. And the person, he turns around, he sees him, he probably falls off his chair. Oh shit, backing up, hairs on his neck all raised, sweating, heart beating fast. And he said unto them, why are ye troubled? And why do thoughts arise in your hearts? Behold, my hands and my feet, that it is I, myself, it's me. So they saw the place where he was pierced. Handle me and see, for his spirit hath not flesh and bones, as ye see me have. So he's like, yeah, go ahead, feel my hands, right? You can see that clearly I'm real. And when he had thus spoken, he shewed them his hands and his feet. And while they yet believed not for joy, and wondered, he said, have ye here any meat? And what this doesn't mean like it's like they were in disbelief, but they were like, I can't believe it, right? Because this is a lot to process right now. But they were very happy. And they gave him a piece of broiled fish and of an honeycomb, and he took it and did eat before them. And he said unto them, these are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. And it was a beautiful thing at this point, right? A joyous thing, because now the mission was done, right? Now that burden, that baptism that he had to be baptized of, that grieved him so much, right? Because of what he would have to go through, he had done it, and he succeeded, and he overcame. So that was a win for him and for us. Like, imagine that relief of like completion the right way. Then opened he their understanding. Make sure I read everything in 44, right? These are the words which I spake unto you while I was yet with you, that all things must be fulfilled, which were written in the law of Moses, and in the prophets, and in the Psalms concerning me. Then opened he their understanding, that they might understand the scriptures. Because remember, he would leave, but they would carry on the torch. So they were able to, he gave them that deep understanding of the scriptures. So the parts in which it was written, and it said, that's why when you go later on in the book of Acts and so on, and they're making reference to different parts in the Old Testament, in the law, in the prophets, and the Psalms, they knew what they were talking about because the Lord had opened up their understanding. And he said unto them, thus it is written, and thus it behooved Hamashiach to suffer, and to rise from the dead the third day. And that repentance and remission of sins should be preached in his name among all nations, beginning at Jerusalem. Why? Because then you would have the elect of Israel from all those nations hear it, and then they would they would come back to the fold. And that's what began, right? That's why the Apostle Paul comes in, and the ministry, it basically explodes. Now you have, Europe, Asia Minor, like all these regions where the gospel is being preached. And ye are witnesses of these things. And behold, I send the promise of my Father upon you, which is the Holy Spirit. But tarry ye in the city of Jerusalem until ye be endued with power from on high. And he led them out as far as to Bethany, and he lifted up his hands and blessed them. And it came to pass, while he blessed them, he was parted from them and carried up into heaven. Kind of like what happened with Elijah and Elisha, but he was beamed up right into that chariot, and then off he goes. And they worshipped him and returned to Jerusalem with great joy, and were continually in the temple, praising and blessing God. Amen. And that brings us to the end of the book of Luke, the 24th chapter, and the end of the entirety of the book of Luke. Lord willing, that was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Raka Kodash. And until next time, Shalom.